Well, good morning everybody and welcome back. It has been a while since I've been on the videos. In the last month and a half we've only done one video, and then both myself and John, who makes the videos and edit them and put the nice pictures and stuff, we both got sick with the COVID virus, and it has been a month of struggle. It has been really tough on both of us, but by God's grace we are all back and well and healthy, and we are over this thing and getting stronger every day by the grace of God alone. And I am so thankful for God's grace upon my life and also for John. And we want to just say thank you to the Lord for also healing us and helping us to get through this whole thing. It was quite difficult. I know some people out there say, well, they had COVID and they only had it for 3 days and then they were fine and then they moved on. Listen, that's not COVID. Maybe that was a flu or something you had. But COVID is very, very real. It's very, very hard for somebody to go through that thing. When you are in a place where you are battling to breathe, it's very difficult. But I'm not going to talk about the COVID now today. At a later stadium one day, I will make a video to tell you exactly what happened with me when I was sick, and things I went through and the visions I saw and things that happened with me while I was going through that ordeal. But not today. Today I want to just talk to you about one of the men of the Bible that is really one of the men of God whom God really loved in the Bible. You can see many times that God loved David, the king, and he made him also the king of Israel. But there's a few things about him that many people didn't know, because you read the Bible and you don't always see these things or understand or see what they say. So I want to just take you quickly to a few things about David that you might not have known. And I'm going to give you some scriptures for you so that you can go and read through them and learn something about David. Right, did you know that there is a prophet by the name of Gad, G-A-D, who helped David when he was running away from Saul, when Saul prosecuted him? And you can go and read that story in 1 Samuel 22 verse 5 and round about there. Read the whole story because it's really interesting. And you can see that this man actually helped him. And he was not just a normal person. He was a prophet of God. And you know, God sends his prophets to help other people. This is why there are prophets even today. And God uses them to help other people with the prophetic gifts that they have. All right, so one thing people always talk about when we talk about David is they say that he was a madman because of the story that you can read in 1 Samuel 21 verse 13 to 15. You can see there that David pretended to be mad, and it's a very interesting story. And now there's many people that have different reasons. What they say is why David pretended to be mad, but I'm not going to spoil the fun for you. I want you to encourage you to go and read that story and see the character of David and how he handled that situation there. Now the question is, would you pretend to be mad to get something or to make sure that people understand what's going on? Well, anyway, did you know also that David, I mean, he had wives, more than one. He had 2 wives after Milcah. Now Milcah was Saul's daughter. You'll remember that Saul gave Milcah, his daughter, to Palti, the son of Loish from Galim. And you can go and read about Paltiel in 2 Samuel 3 verse 15. And then after that, David had 2 wives. In 1 Samuel 27 verse 3, there was Ahinoam the Yisraelite and Abigail the Carmelite, and that was Nabal's widow. You remember that she went out with some food and some cakes and some all kind of fruits and raisins and all kinds of things, and she went to go and meet David to speak to him and to ask for favor. and then he decided to take her as his wife. And then there was, of course, Beersheba, and that was the Hittite's wife, Hurich. And then you can go and read all these stories about the different wives that he had and different times in his life where these wives also had played a role in the life of David. Then there was a man by the name of Achich. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Achich, or maybe Achich or Achich. Did you know that David was so blessed by the Lord that Achich gave David the town of Ziklag? And this story can be read in 1 Samuel 27 verse 6. You can go and read there how Achich gave David the town of Ziklag. And do you know that Ziklag belongs to the kings of Judah even till today? Ziklag belongs to those people there. Also, let me just talk to you a little bit about David. You know, David was such an amazing character. When you read his story in the Bible, you realize that he was really a guy or a person that was really very, very favored by God. And it's not just because he was a shepherd when he was young, which, you know, also refers to spiritual Jesus, who is our shepherd, and we are his flock. Not just because of things like that, and not just because he danced around the ark and things like that. But David also dwelt in the Philistines' country for 1 year and 4 months. We read that in 1 Samuel 27 verse 7. And during that time, God protected David, even though he slayed their brother Goliath, the Philistine. And to me, what is so amazing about this thing is that God will protect you in the midst of your enemies. Listen to what I'm saying. David lived in the country of the Philistines. And you remember that the Philistines were the ones that came up with Goliath, which David slew at the end. And, you know, he was ready to slew his other Goliath, his 3 sons and his brother also, which is why he picked up 5 stones. Because he probably thought in his mind, well, if I kill Goliath, I've got another 1 stone for the brother and 3 more stones for the 3 sons of Goliath. There was 5 giants that the Philistines had, but they only brought Goliath because they thought, well, 1 giant was enough to kill the Israelites. But obviously they were wrong. They didn't think that God was going to send a small little guy with a little sling in his hand, which would kill their giant Goliath. So God protected him even though he slayed Goliath. And during that time, God was with him. And to me, this is so amazing because sometimes we get, involved in things that we don't really meant to, but it happens. And during that time, God protects us in the midst of our enemies. Right there where we are busy with things, God is just always around us and with us. And this is to me why it's such an amazing story about David and what happened there with the Philistines. Well, also, I spoke about this in one of the previous Did You Knows, that David was the bodyguard of Achich, the king of Goth, and he was the son of Mahoch. Now, because he was the bodyguard of Achich, or other reasons might be that they might have been friends, which is probably why Achich gave David the town of Ziklag. But we spoke about that already. I want to just say to you, and this is a very short video, which I'm starting again, because I'm still practicing my lungs to talk longer than 12 or 15 minutes, which is why our church is only opening at the end of the month. By that time, I think I would be okay. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is that there was a king that said to David that he is as blameless in his sight as an angel of God. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that somebody says to you, you are blameless like an angel of God? You can go and read about that in 1 Samuel 29, round about verse 9 and 10 there. And it's very interesting because David was such an anointed man of God. And also later he was the king of Israel after Saul died. When the death of Saul occurred in Hebron. And you know, the house of Judah anointed David. And David was 30 years old, and he also reigned for 40 years. And you know, he was from the house of Judah, and Judah means, you know, it refers to the Lion of Judah, which is Jesus Christ. Go and read these stories in 1 Samuel 2, verse 3 to 4 and 5, and etc. And also in 2 Samuel 5, verse 3. Yeah, so there's many things about David that other people didn't know. And yeah, you know, David, I want to end this teaching because it's getting long. David cursed the house of Joab. And you can read that in 2 Samuel 3, verse 23 to 29, and also see verse 39. Now, there's many other things about David that I want to say, but I'm going to end this, did you know, today on this note. You know, David's first son was Amnon, and by Hebron, through his wife Ahinoam, and she was the Yisraelite. His second son was Shelihab, that he had by Abigail, which was the widow of Nabal. And the third son was Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, who was the king of Geshur. The son of Hachith, the fifth son of David, was Shephatiah, the son of Abital. And the sixth son, Ithream, by Eglah, David's wife. And you can go and read these things. And in 2 Samuel 3, verse 2 to 5, up until, you know, 2 Samuel 5, verse 13. And you know that all these sons of him was born in Hebrew. And that's just a little bit about his children. But in 2 Samuel 5, 7, David took the city, the stronghold of Zion, and they called it the city of David. So that's all I have for you today. A little bit of info regarding this great man of God who was favored by God. And go and read the story. In 1 and 2 Samuel, you will read a lot about David, and look at his character, and let us trust the Lord that he will also give us much favor as he did to David. So until next time, may God bless you. Shalom.